me doing ASMR. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby if you don't already know me, and I love to talk all things personal finance, organization, and lifestyle. And today we are doing a very off-brand video. We are doing a how I do my Gel X nails at home, DIY by myself when I have absolutely no training or knowledge in the matter. Well, no, that's a lie. I do have knowledge in the matter, but I have no professional training at all on how to do my nails, and I have just slowly over the years figured out how to do them. Basically, ever since COVID, I have just taken it upon myself to learn how to do initially just gel polish at home, but now I am doing Gel X nails just because I started doing press-on nails and I loved having really long nails. I just loved the way my fingers looked so long and skinny and cute. Just a preference. I like having long nails on my hands. I feel like from a distance they don't look long, but up close they are actually quite long. Yeah, it's just a preference. I don't always put Gel X nails on. I will sometimes just put gel polish on my nails. I do have decently nice nails that can grow pretty long on their own, so I don't always do this, but this is just what I do when I want to, because I want to. And yeah, I just wanted to give a heads up. I have absolutely no professional training. Honestly, these are going to be some of the messier nails you will see done on the internet because I am still learning. I can fully admit I do not know everything on this matter, and I am still figuring out how to do all of these things in a way that looks super professional. So it takes time to learn how to get really good at these things. You know, nail techs are doing many sets a day, and I am doing them once every couple of weeks. So it's just going to take a while before I can really nail down my technique and everything like that. I likely will do an updated video on this in the future as I learn more or as I get better at this, and also once I figure out how to film this, because you will notice from the footage of this video that I don't know exactly what I'm doing when I'm filming myself doing my nails. I film on my phone, and the tripod I have basically blocks the view of what I'm filming. So I can't always see what I'm filming, and you can tell in this footage. So I apologize for the poor quality footage. Hopefully my description of what's happening makes it clear what's happening, and I'm really sorry if this video is completely useless to you. I did my very best, and I have filmed this 3 separate times, and unfortunately this is the best of those times. So, yeah, I'm not a nail guru. I am just a girl who has saved a lot of money by doing her own nails at home, and so I'm just showing you what I know while also trying to limit the amount of damage and harm I cause you guys by making sure I give you all of the information you need to know. Yeah, these nails are not perfect by any means, but they look good from a distance, and that's really all I care about, because who is really looking at my nails that close? And this is what they look like 2 weeks after I did them. So this set I did 2 weeks ago, and to be honest, they look pretty good. Like, some of the white is definitely chipping away a little bit, but for the most part, they look really nice. So, okay, I am gonna start chitter-chattering and let you guys jump into the video, so enjoy. Hi everyone, we are going to begin the nail removal process. You can see me here setting up my nail dust collector and then also my e-file. So a very important part about using an e-file is knowing the risks and the implications on your health, and it is very serious. You do not want to be breathing in the little particles that you create when you are filing into your lungs. It's basically tiny little plastics that are going to be going into your lungs, and obviously we don't need that. I highly recommend wearing a face mask and also sitting in a well-ventilated area. I also have recently purchased this nail dust collector, so this is something I would also highly recommend. It just helps catch that nail dust before it can really enter your lungs, but I take all the precautions now just because I wasn't doing this beforehand and I've learned from my mistakes, so do as I say. I also want to caution about using the e-file. So there are a lot of different speeds. RPMs is basically the metrics of speeds, and you will see the number is the number of RPMs or rotations per minute. 1, 2, 3, those are all very low speeds. You can go up to about 10 is like the normal speed for removing product, which is pretty quick, and then it goes all the way up to 30 or something crazy. I never even get close to there. Even like 15, 16 is quite high because you need to be moving really quickly or else you're going to feel a burn on your nail. So basically when using an e-file, if you hold hold that e-file in the same place for too long, it will create so much friction that it will actually burn your skin underneath your nail, and obviously that's not very pleasant. So I like to work with the e-file at lower speeds just because I'm inexperienced with it, and the higher the speed, the higher the damage you can do, and you need to be very careful around your nail fold area or like the cuticle. Basically, your e-file can slip and catch on your skin and then, tear your shit up. And I have had this happen to me. I was using a really intense bit for my nail file and it dug into my fingernail and it hurt like shit and it bled so much. So be very, very careful. I always like to use my pinky on my hand that's holding the e-file as like an anchor point, and I will put that on the hand that I'm trying to file somewhere so that I have like a second backup anchorage point, not just like my hand strength, just in case it slips or something happens. And I also find just using lower speeds will just help with this overall process as well. I apologize for basically never being in frame in this whole video and in focus. I'm so sorry. I am going in with my e-file and with a medium grit sanding band on my drill bit so that I can safely buff down the builder gel that is on my nails without causing a bunch of trauma to my nails underneath. One of the big tips I will give you is if you are going to be putting product on your nails and you're going to have to deal with the removal process, is if you have an e-file, and I recommend one, otherwise you will be here forever filing down your nails with a regular file, but I would recommend buffing down whatever product is on your nails until there's just a very slim layer left over, so you don't have to go in with so much acetone and the whole scraping process, because that is another time that I find that people usually will cause damage to their nails, and that's usually where I was causing damage to my nails. So my new method is getting rid of whatever product it is as much as possible that's sitting on my nails and buffing it down safely so that I'm not accidentally taking chunks of my nails out. In the case here where I have just a thin layer of a builder gel and I'm going in with a low RPM and I'm just slowly buffing off that product in an even layer, and that way I'm not taking chunks out of my own nails by accident. Okay, after that I am going through and I am filing my own nails down and just making them look nice. This is not super critical because we will be going in with nails, but I often like to make my nails a little bit thinner so they don't poke out of the Gel X tips, just because we are putting an almond shaped nail on top. So sometimes if my nails get too long and they're too square, they will poke out the edges of the Gel X nails. And then I'm going to be going through with my e-file and my Melody Susie cuticle removal heads from Amazon. I will link them in the description box below. I will just go with a low RPM and just being really careful that I am only buffing away the cuticle that has grown onto my nail plate and not buffing away a bunch of my nail. You shouldn't be doing this for too long. Once you push back the nail fold, if you need to push back the nail fold, I did not here just because I had recently done my nails, but once you push the nail fold back with like a cuticle pusher, you might notice that little bits of skin and like dead skin cells are all in that area and they're growing onto your nail plate, so you can remove those with the e-file head at this point, or you can totally go in with the cuticle softener and just a pusher. That totally works too. I am just trying this out right now. Totally up to you. I would say the method without the e-file is perfectly fine. I then will be going through with my cuticle nippers to remove any white dead skin that is around my nail beds. I don't have too much dead skin around my nail beds, so I never can do the really satisfying like full removal of the skin around the nail beds. If anything is looking like a hangnail, or if anything is like very obviously white, you do not need to do this at all. Now we will start to size our Gel X nails to be placed on our nails. You want to do this now before you start adding primer and product to your nails, because once you apply that stuff, your nails will get sticky and stuff can get stuck to them. So I highly recommend doing this immediately after your cuticle prep. You will just want to size the nails to make sure that the nail is going from the edge of your nail all the way to the other edge of your nail. If it's extending too far beyond, that's not good. And if it's not fully reaching it, that's also not good, and that can cause lifting. So it's almost better to go a little bit too big and then file it down. You will see me here filing some of these down just to get them to the right size. Obviously everyone's nail beds are different, so it's very rare that you're gonna have a perfect fit for all of your nails. Next, we will be etching the bottoms of the Gel X nails to make sure we get rid of that smooth, shiny coat so that these properly adhere to our nails. You can go in with a file or an e-file and just buff these down, but I am gonna be using primer today. So I am just rubbing that primer back and forth in little like windshield wiper motions. You don't have to do the entire nail, just do the portion that's gonna be sitting on your nails, and you're just gonna buff that in. You can almost feel it breaking down the product a little bit, and that is just gonna give it something to adhere to when you apply these nails. All right, once you finish etching the nails, you can move those out of the way because we will begin prepping our nails to apply the Gel X tips. Before we start applying primer and dehydrator, we want to make sure our nails are buffed down just so that they're not shiny. Because I've gone in and I was e-filing my nails, I don't really need to do this step right here. But if you have fresh, shiny nails, you just want to buff to the point where they're no longer shiny, but you don't want to buff too much that you're taking down a full layer of your nail. And also you can buff too much to where it gets shiny again. So just a little bit of buffing just to rough up the texture of your nail so that it just looks non-shiny and uneven, and that is perfect. We will be going in with a dehydrator. If you have alcohol or alcohol wipes, that is all basically the same thing. You want to just fully dry out the nail bed. You can also go in with a really good soap if you don't have dehydrator. We just want to make sure that there's nothing that's on the nail that it's going to make the nails pop off later on. So I will go in with the dehydrator. I like to also get this around the edges of my nails so that my nail beds aren't emitting some sort of oils onto my nails. And then we will be going in afterward with the same primer we used on the base of the nails. We will go in with a thin layer of primer. If you use too much primer, this can cause the nails to pop off, so just be very careful about how much you're applying. And you also want to be careful not to get this on your skin because you can get allergies. So be very cautious with where you're applying these products. If you need to, get a little brush and dip it in some acetone and clean away the product on your nail beds if you're not good at applying things yet. Once we have applied primer and we let that dry down, which takes about 30 seconds, you can go in with your first coat of your Gel X nail glue. This is your gel product you will be using to help your Gel X nails adhere. I am using the Beetles nail glue right here. It comes in the kit. I will link it down below. You will do a single coat onto your nails, and then we will cure in a light for whatever the time says on the bottle, and then after that we will apply the Gel X nails. You want to make sure you are reading the directions on the back of your nail products because every single one will be different. Some of mine say they need to be cured for 60 to 90 seconds and some other ones say 30 to 60 seconds, and you want to make sure you're curing for the time suggested. Otherwise, you can get product that doesn't fully cure, and then you can get contact dermatitis, which we do not need here. That can be very serious, and so want to make sure you're fully curing your products with a proper lamp. Do not use a flash curing lamp for drying down gel products. You need a proper lamp. Okay, we are finally ready to start applying our Gel X nails. So what I like to do is I will grab a nail and hold it by the tip the way that I would like to place the nail onto my other nail. So just pretend you're going to place the nail onto your nail and grab the nail as you would, and then you will flip it over, and then you will begin applying the gel product on the bottom of the nail. I like to make sure my fingers are acquainted to the direction that I need to do this with because it can get a little bit awkward to put the nail onto your other nail if you're not holding it correctly from the jump. You will put a little glob onto the base of the nail, and this is hard to know how much is right until you've done this a few times, but you will see that I have a good amount of product but not an insane amount of product, and I will push that product a little bit up the nail, just a little bit in the middle. If I push it too much to the edges, like on the side walls of the nail, then sometimes I will get spillage over the side. So I like to just place this product mainly in the middle of the nail, and once you apply pressure on your nail, it will move up the nail without squeezing out the sides. So once I've applied the product, I'm going to flip the nail over, get my hands close to the flash curing lamp, and I will begin to press the nail down onto my nail bed where I want to place it at about a 45-degree angle. And you want to do this in one swift motion. You don't want to lift it up and put it back down because that will cause air bubbles, and that can create lifting, and also then liquids and crap can get underneath your nails in those air bubbles, so we don't want that. And a perfect amount of product will get to the end of my nail once I've pushed down the nail onto my nail bed without spilling too much over the edges. And you also want to build up a good amount of an apex on your nail, so you do want a little bit of product between your nail and the Gel X nail. nail because this creates a stronger nail that won't break as easily. Once you have placed the nail on your nail, you want to make sure you are close by to the flash curing lamp so you don't have to do too much kerfuffling with getting your fingers to the lamp. It can be awkward to get your hand underneath the lamp, just a heads up. And we want to flash cure the nail for about 10 to 15 seconds. It doesn't need that long. This is just holding the nail in place so that you won't get the air bubbles by accident. And then we are going to fully cure the nails once we finish the whole hand. Also recommend having acetone and a little cleanup brush nearby because sometimes I will put a little bit too much product, which I prefer. I prefer to have too much product than too little, just because if you have too little product won't go all the way up your nail, and then you will have a gap between your nail and the Gel X nail where liquids and crap can get stuck underneath like the whole time you have those nails. It's awful. I do not recommend it. So if you put too much product on and it spills out before you flash cure, what I like to do without disrupting the nail too much, obviously we don't want to cause any lifting where we get air bubbles, but I will just take that little brush in the acetone and I will clean up the gel product that has gotten on my skin and just clean it up before I cure, and then that way it's not that messy. Once you have applied all of the Gel X nails, make sure to cure in an LED light for the time suggested on the back of the bottle of your glue. So I did 60 to 90 seconds per hand. I think I did somewhere in the middle, like 70 seconds. Once that is done, your Gel X nails are officially applied. The next step we will be doing is preparing the nails for color and also blending the nails into my natural nails. You don't have to do this step, the blending into your natural nails, but I noticed that once they start to grow out, if you do not do this step, it's very obvious where the Gel X nail starts and where your nails begin. So what I like to do is I will use my e-file and a sanding band and I will just buff down the edge of the nail so that it's a little bit more seamless into my natural nails. You also want to go in at this point and buff down the Gel X nails just to get rid of the shiny top layer so that color can be applied and it won't come off. Next, we will be doing a step that really helps with the longevity of the nails, and this is to use a little bit of acetone and a brush and to use that around the edge of the nail. This I find helps melt the nail into your natural nails and then helps it with lifting. So I do recommend this step. It's super quick and easy and it helps with your longevity of your nails. All right, we are finally ready to paint our nails and I will be going in with a light creamy pinky nude color because I'm going to be doing French tips. I ended up just doing white French tips even though I wanted to do colored tips because I started with the white, which I normally do underneath any of the colors, but my boyfriend came home from the airport and I had to go get him, so I was in a bit of a rush and I had to just finish these as quickly as possible. So I'm going in with a pinky nude base and then I will be going on top of that with a French tip and I will show you how I do that. You will notice a white cast on the outside of my nails, and that is from the acetone in the last step because it broke down the nail and it leaves behind like a dried white layer that comes off when I wash my hands later on, and it didn't actually disrupt the nude pinky color. Like you can't see it in the end final product. It just looks a bit messy at this point. Okay, and now is time for the French tips. This is a little bit tricky and I'm going to explain how I like to do it, which I think is the easiest method, but I actually didn't do an amazing job this time, so it's just something you have to practice at and get better at. But I like to draw a line in the middle of my nail. This is defining how long I want the French tip to be on my nail, and then I will connect to that line from the edges of my nail, drawing almost straight but a little bit rounded line to that point, and I will do that on both sides to make it even, and then you just have to fill in the top above it. I also find using a long thin brush makes this a little bit easier as well. You'd think you'd want a shorter brush, but I find the longer brushes make this a bit easier. You just have a little bit more flexibility with the brush. So I am using a nail brush kit from Amazon as well that I will leave in the link down below. I like to keep my brush and acetone nearby to clean up any messes, so I sometimes will clean up the edge underneath by going in with a little bit of acetone and cleaning up the edge of the French tip, or I also remove the product I get on my skin with the acetone as well. You can see I got quite a bit onto my skin, so it's inevitable. Just make sure you have a cleanup system ready to go so that you can quickly get rid of it before curing in the LED lamp. Okay, and once you are done your French tips, we will move on to a top coat. I am using the Beetles top coat as well. I will also link below on Amazon, and this only needs to cure for 30 to 60 seconds, and I usually like to double cure at the end just to make sure everything is dry and good to go. I unfortunately didn't get amazing footage of this process because my boyfriend was literally landed and waiting for me, so I had to get going. Simple, just apply top coat and cure. Okay, and we have finally wrapped the nails. So this is what they looked like the next day, and I was definitely rushing at the end, so they're not as crisp and clean as I usually like to make them. I kind of panicked at the end there and was rushing, but I love the way these look. I'm a big fan of the French tips and of course Gel X nails in general. And that wraps this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was informative or fun to watch, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.